Music's lover. Captress listened to the radio around the clock, trying to win tickets to see her childhood idol, Whitney Houston. Captress' efforts had paid off, and tonight was the big night. Whitney Houston's album release party was held inside a beautiful mansion overlooking the city. As a child, Captress listened to Whitney Houston's music, and now she was finally about to meet her for the first time. Captress was not about to miss a moment. She walked through the open door at the mansion, showed her ticket to security, and once Captress was inside, she went straight to the bar and ordered herself a glass of wine. She then walked around the beautiful mansion, adoring its elegance. As she passed a doorway overlooking the garden, she stopped to watch the sunset. A music producer named Music saw Captress standing in the doorway and decided to approach her. Music walked towards Captress in such a subtle manner that she did not even realize he was standing behind her. "How are you this evening?" Music said. The raspy sound of his voice tickled the back of her neck. Captress smiled. Then she replied, "I'm fine, thank you. How are you?" Music did not reply. He just stared into Captress' eyes as she stared deep into his eyes. Silence filled the room, and everyone there seemed to disappear. Captress and Music silently stood, gazing at one another. A slow, soft melody played, and they began to dance. When the song ended, Music released Captress from his arms, excused himself, and left. Captress watched as Music slowly made his way through the crowd. Excuse me. Captress pushed her way through the crowd, trying to get Music's attention. But by the time Captress reached the front door, Music was gone. As she looked out across the parking area, a white Maserati with dark black windows pulled up to the door. The window of the car went down halfway. It was Music. Captress smiled, then yelled, "You didn't tell me your name." Music smiled as he replied, "My name is Music, sweetheart." Then Music quickly drove off into the night. As Captress walked back into the party, Whitney Houston began to sing, "The Greatest Love of All." Captress had a wonderful night, but she could not stop thinking about Music. The next morning, Captress awoke and started her day as usual with grapefruit juice, scrambled eggs, fruit, and a wheat roll. When Captress turned on her television, she saw a picture of Music. She turned up the volume as the newscaster reported. Music Jones was in a near-fatal accident last night after leaving a party for Whitney Houston. Captress got dressed and went to the hospital. Captress didn't know why she felt the need to go to the hospital, but she was on her way. When she arrived at the hospital where Music was, there was a large crowd outside. Captress assumed they were there for Music, so she decided to leave. After she drove herself back home, Captress went inside her condo, threw her keys on the kitchen counter, and just sat at her breakfast bar puzzled. She couldn't figure out why she would leave her home on a Sunday morning to go see a man she didn't even know. "Am I going crazy?" Captress asked herself. Then she went into the living room and sat on the sofa. She looked at the time and realized she had missed Sunday service. Captress was baffled at the effects Music had on her. Captress tried to forget about Music, but the tune that played as they had danced stayed in her mind for weeks. She found herself searching for information about him. She even began to dream of dancing in his arms again. 6 months had passed since Captures first met Music. Although she hadn't saw or spoken to him since that night, Captures had never been a big music lover. She had a few favorites, but that was it. Now, this man she only met for a moment had created a passion for music in her that she had never experienced. Captures found herself listening to all types of music now. She even brought an iPad to organize all her favorite songs. Captures had developed a passion for music. She couldn't get enough. She even called and inquired about taking piano lessons. Her job as a secretary just didn't seem fulfilling anymore. Captures wanted to be able to express her creative side. She wanted to create music. Captures also longed to see music just one more time. So much that when Captures found out that Music was hosting a party at a nightclub in a nearby city, she drove her car 5 hours just to see him. Along the way, she thought to herself, I must be losing my mind. Chasing down a man whom I only met for a moment, Captures began to think that what she was doing was a bad idea, but she never turned around. When she arrived and saw the line of people waiting to go inside, she began to feel nervous, and the reality of what she was about to do gave her cold feet. Captures sat in the car almost 15 minutes before she got out. Once Captures went inside the club, she instantly spotted Music standing in the VIP section. It was as if Music knew Captures was there, or he could feel her stares from across the room, because he quickly recognized her coming through the crowd. Just as Captures was close enough to reach out to Music, his security stopped her. Let her through, Music told the guard. Well, hello, Captures said with a smile. You do remember me, right? Captures asked. Yes, I remember you, sweetheart, Music replied with a blank stare. Do you live out here? He asked in a puzzled tone. No, I actually drove up here from Atlanta just to see you, Captures replied. That's a long drive, Music said, with a look of surprise. Since you're here, let's have some fun. Music popped a bottle of champagne and poured Captures a glass. The night from that moment on went quickly. Before Captures knew it, she was in the mountains at yet another mansion, walking into a party that looked as if it had just started. As Music and Captures walked through the door, people were fighting for Music's attention. Captures didn't want to be in the way, so she wandered into a room that was less crowded. The room had a piano in it. She walked around the room for a moment, then she sat down at the piano. Captures uncovered the keys and began to play. As she began to play random notes on the keyboard, she hummed the song they danced to when they first met. Music heard someone playing the piano and went into the room to see what was going on. When Music saw Captures at the piano, he was surprised. Here you are, Music said. I have been looking for you. Music closed the door. Why are you in here? Music asked. I saw you had a lot of people to talk to, and I didn't want to be in the way, Captures replied. As Captures stood up from the piano, Music embraced her and kissed her on her lips. At first she started to resist, but Captures knew it was everything she had been waiting for. She wanted Music, and he could read it in every inch of her body language. The two of them laughed, talked, and did what lovers do. The next morning, Captures awakened to a bright sun shining in through the window. But Music was gone again. As she walked through the house looking for him, she noticed a few people in the kitchen. She asked one of the men she recognized from the club, "Where Music had gone. He had an early flight. He is gone, sweetheart, said the man as he finished his breakfast. Captors went back to the room to get her belongings, and then she left. As she drove home, she began to feel saddened. She started to think she was just another groupie chick to music. How could he leave and not even wake her up to say goodbye? Captors turned the radio on in the car to clear her mind. The song that played when Captors and music first met was on the radio. Then Captors' cell phone began to vibrate. It was a message from music. It read, "Good morning, love. I enjoyed the company last night. Stay in touch and make sure you get at me about some piano lessons. Smile, music." Captors' heart raced as she turned the volume up on the radio and speeded down the highway. "I sure will," Captor said to herself.